The 49ers have spent the past couple of days here in Phoenix all but saying their goodbyes to Jawan Jennings. But how about opening the door to a replacement Jennings? That is Jennings Dunker, offensive lineman out of Iowa. Now, listen, Kyle Shanahan today had his press conference at the NFL owners' meetings, and he mentioned left guard twice. He said the 49ers are going to add there through the draft twice. And Jennings Dunker, well, he immediately goes into the name and picture Hall of Fame. And Mike says that he might have grown out the mullet for his former teammate, Connor Colby, who he might be competing against if the 49ers do draft him. Anyway, we're going to get to a lot of Kyle Shanahan intel over the course of this video, including what I thought was a piece of information that really challenges the 49ers to change the status quo. Brock Purdy and Christian McCaffrey were this team's offensive engine, the centerpiece of it last season. They handled the ball the most, and they made magic work even in the pass game with a lot of wide receivers hurt. But it was 413 touches for Christian McCaffrey. That was a career high. And Kyle Shanahan, he said a little bit of the same last offseason. He said, we've got to take a little bit of a load off of CMC. Well, this time, Kyle Shanahan doubled down on that, and it really seemed to me, speaking at the owners' meetings this morning, that it is a major, major point of emphasis for the 49ers to take that load off of Christian McCaffrey.
Well, one, we need to do that a lot more. I mean, Christian had an unbelievable year last year, but he definitely needs help. And Jordan James came on really strong at the end of last year, but he missed so much in the beginning. He kind of just missed his window to pass some other people up. I wish I would have got him on the field more than I did. He got him on there for Seattle at the end, but he needs to take that next step. Hopefully they can have a healthy offseason. We do need some better runners going to help Christian out. I think Jordan James did show that. Isaac has shown us that he can be very good in the pass game. You guys saw his rookie year that he is a good runner. We're not a big three-man rotation team, so you got to really be that one or two guy to get in there. If you are that third guy, there's a chance that someone gets hurt. But if not, you better be helping us out on special teams.
This is the first time I've heard you say that about getting more guys involved. What's changed?
I think I said it a little bit last year. We just didn't do it. Nothing's really changed. It's just I know that I don't want Christian to have to take all of that. It was amazing that he did and was able to do that. And the best thing with Christian, the reason it's so hard to get Christian out is because of how much he affects everything in the pass game, even when he's not getting the ball. It's like having a receiver out there. If you play certain coverages and just normal coverages and put a linebacker on Christian on first and second down, that's going to be a problem. And so he pulls coverage that helps out everyone else. All the health issues we had with receivers last year, the guys in and out, but we're still able to be a top 5 passing team. I think that has to do with Christian being on the field. Now, we went into the year wanting to take care of him a little bit more, but the way the offense went, I think more with the receivers and the injuries we had, it was hard to get him off, and it's cool to have him out there because he did help our offense so much. But in order for us to be the running team we want to be, in order to have Christian be as good as he can be throughout the whole year, we got to get someone help.
So isn't that fascinating? You know, I think one would naturally assume, well, okay, the most important factor for Christian McCaffrey to get more of a breather is that the 49ers have more running backs that Kyle Shanahan trusts in the run game. And that is a very important factor indeed. But I think we often forget about how important the receiver room is when it comes to Christian McCaffrey's playing time, because the 49ers were banged up beyond belief in the wide receiver room last year, on top of the fact that Brandon Aiyuk didn't play for them, even if he might have been healthy, although that all is debatable. And of course, I covered all of that in the longer video from earlier today. We can tap into that in a little bit. But the main point from Kyle Shanahan was the receiving room was so beaten up last year and was so lacking in generating separation that Christian McCaffrey had to stay in the game as the outlet passing option, because that's what allowed the 49ers to stay as a top 5 offense. Because Brock Purdy got hurt too, so Mac Jones had to be in there. If you guys all remember the Thursday night game against the Rams early in the season, the 49ers, that was what, week 5? CMC. They got a little bit of Kendrick Bourne in that game as well. But the fact that everybody seemed to be hurt along the front line of the skill possession weapons, except for Christian McCaffrey, meant that the 49ers had a funneled offense through McCaffrey, and that meant 413 touches, which I don't know if is sustainable. Christian McCaffrey had about 400 touches in 2023. 49ers played deep into February, all the way into the Super Bowl, turned around in 2024 and was bothered by the Achilles tendonitis, both legs, and played only 4 games that year. So that was the last time that Christian McCaffrey had to come off of a 400 touch season. Now he's going to try it again. And I think that the 49ers, he's a couple years older now, he's got, 800 or 900 more snaps under his belt at this point. 49ers really feel that they need to take care of Christian and make sure that this snap count is not soaring to those heights again. So fascinating stuff from Kyle Shanahan. I think it's very important to focus on that receiver position, which of course was a big point of focus today at the NFL owners meetings when we heard from Jed York, who was talking about this guy, Brandon Aiyuk. I wrote this way back in November. This is when the 49ers, or at least it was reported that the 49ers voided Brandon Aiyuk's $25 million in guarantees. Well, Jed York today, a lot of people speculating it might be for trade leverage. I'm just laying out the facts. He went out there and made some eyebrow-raising comments, and the article is up on the San Francisco Standard, and it is available in the description. Jed York, Brandon Aiyuk, and a 49ers saga that might not end soon. I mean, we open up with the Jed York quote right here. I would like to see him play for us. We paid him for a reason. I think he's a really good football player. Well, at the very least, the 49ers don't have to do anything with Brandon Aiyuk right now because he is under contract. He's not due more money until September 1st. And, my main line about the 49ers strategy is right here. And you guys can all take a look at this when you read the article up on the Standard. But the 49ers don't like to make major moves before they're forced to, unless they can benefit from a potential maneuver beforehand. In Aiyuk's case, the team isn't on the hook to pay more money until September 1st, when the receiver's next $25 million option bonus is due. So the 49ers can theoretically hold Aiyuk until then at the cost of only one 90-man roster spot, and potentially beyond that date if the wideout continues to stay away from the team facility. Remember, key line right here, Aiyuk would be owed money only if he meets his contractual obligations. So this can be as simple as the 49ers just forcing Brandon Aiyuk to show up. I mean, long ago they put the ball in his court. He didn't pass back, so they put him on the left squad list. Left squad list doesn't exist in the offseason, but it's going to start to exist again once the team reconvenes. And, there are contractual obligations to get money that is scheduled to a player. So you could say, well, 49ers have a deadline on September 1st to pay this $25 million option to Brandon Aiyuk. Brandon Aiyuk has a deadline to begin fulfilling his contractual obligations before September 1st if he wants to see that option bonus, or at least force the 49ers to make a decision, trade or cut him. And if they're not getting any good trade traction, and obviously they're waiting for something like that, well, that they can continue to hold on to Brandon Aiyuk indefinitely. And maybe Jed York is just a little bit more of an optimist too. Maybe he thinks that the relationship can be mended. I mean, I know that made some splashes today, and you just wonder, I mean, what if everything just suddenly was okay? And you have Mike Evans, Christian Kirk, and Brandon Aiyuk, and Ricky Pearsall. And I mean, receiver depth is not a bad thing. The problem is that I think there was a lot of damage done in that relationship, trust between both sides. I mean, for obvious reasons over the course of the past several months. But that is no reason to let go of an asset earlier than you have to if there is no damage to the 49ers end. All right, so talking about those offensive linemen, how about Brock Purdy first? Challenging the Brock Purdy status quo. Kyle Shanahan talked about the challenge that he has for Brock Purdy this offseason. He says it always starts with the cut-ups with Brock. That means cut-ups of tape. It starts when we get him in the building, which is going to be fairly soon. It's not just a few weeks from now. And we go pretty hard on him on every bad clip. So not just the interceptions, not just some incompletions. I'm sure there's some completions where Kyle Shanahan believes that Brock Purdy should have gone to another receiver. So he's going to cut up those, I won't say highlights, he'll cut up those lowlights. He'll show them to Purdy, and he'll say this: you give him soft compliments on the good clips, and he's really good at taking them. and we give him a plan when he comes in based on the film. We usually give him about 5 things. That depends on how many things we see, and then he starts in phase 1 of the offseason program. And Brock is really fun that way because he's fun to coach, because he's always humble and never takes it personally. And he usually fixes that stuff by training camp. You know, there's a reason why Brock Purdy, despite the fact that he was dealing with turf toe last year, despite the fact that the 49ers didn't have a true X wide receiver, despite the fact that they had a mass injury event that affected essentially every position of the offense except for Christian McCaffrey's position at running back, Brock Purdy still finished number 2 in the whole league in QBR. He has been number 1 in QBR since he joined the league in 2022. I know that I repeat this a lot, but it is a truth that a lot of people don't like to hear because they're very biased about Brock Purdy. But the performance is the performance, and all of the metrics we have that do their best to isolate quarterback play from situation. And the 49ers situation was not a good one last year. Brock Purdy was playing handcuffed when it came to the lack of separation for the 49ers on the outside, when it came to the 49ers' lack of explosive running plays. Brock Purdy, in the situation that he's been in with the 49ers, has been the top quarterback in the league by QBR, and he was number 2 behind only Drake May last season. To do that, you have to be a good learner in this league. You have to adapt in this league. You have to do exactly what Kyle Shanahan said about Brock Purdy. You have to take feedback constructively, and you have to apply it well and set yourself up for success in training camp. Purdy has done that successfully many times already. 49ers expect more of that here in 2025. Let's take a quick break to hear from our sponsor. Now, don't get scared that I'm wearing a turtleneck. This was actually filmed back when I was in Cleveland. That was a vintage Brock Purdy performance.
I'm here to tell you about the peace of mind you can get through Clover, an app that allows for up to $400 of cash advance without a credit check and without late fees. There's the interface. A nice, clean app. As you can see, up to $400. You're probably wondering how they make their money through partnerships with outside brands that they promote within the app. You can either wait a few days to receive your cash advance or pay a small fee for it to be deposited instantly. Unlike other apps, there's no monthly membership fee required to get an advance. So if something pops up and you need a little extra cash in your pocket, maybe for some gifts this holiday season, make sure to give Clover a try. Short on cash, access up to $400 with no credit check or late fees. Click on the link so that they know I sent you. Not all users will qualify. Advances range from $25 to $400. The average advance is $160. Express transfer fees may apply.
Well, so that turtleneck, if I was wearing that right now, it's like 92 degrees here in Phoenix and it's already 6:16 p.m. I think that I would cease to exist. It is hot here in the desert, and the big party is tonight. Thankfully, I've got some short sleeves and we should be good. I'll be headed out to the Biltmore for the party, talk to some of the 49ers people, and it's one of the best NFL events of the year. So should be exciting. Last year, Lombardi herself was able to make it. She unable, due to another commitment, was unable to make it this season. But her favorite part last year was meeting Jim Harbaugh and talking to Jim Harbaugh and his wife for like 45 minutes. It's a very, very awesome collection of characters at this party. You know who won't be there, who seems like an awesome character, is Jennings Dunker. And we're talking about Jennings Dunker because we're talking about this draft class and the fact that Kyle Shanahan today, twice, mentioned that the 49ers are going to try to add to that left guard competition through the NFL draft. Now, they could be surreptitiously waiting for Joe Bitonio to see if he retires or not, but more likely is the fact that the 49ers are just going to do what they say that they're planning to do, and that is draft an offensive lineman who can fill in at that left guard position, or at least give the guys that they already have on the roster a push. Robert Jones just signed to the 49ers. Is there Brett Toth just signed to the 49ers, but maybe more of a center for San Francisco is there? Connor Colby, the teammate and maybe the origin of this mullet for Jennings Dunker is there, and so is Nick Zakel. Let's take a look, though, at some of the options in this draft class, because I think that, Mike made a good point. I was texting with him a little bit earlier. He said it's always good to lean into where a draft is strong. And this particular draft does seem to be strong at guard, or you could have a large handful of guys go in the top 150 picks. And it's also strong at safety. And it just so happens that I think the 49ers have roster openings at both guard and safety. Somebody like Jennings Dunker played right tackle at the University of Iowa, which also happens to be George Kittle's alma mater. But I think that he's a little short for the tackle position at the NFL level, but he's super, super explosive. And the 49ers love explosive guards, so they can get out to the second level on those reach blocks. You could see the vertical there, 32.5 inches, solid broad jump, solid speed, but he doesn't really have that prototypical tackle height. 49ers have really, really tall tackles typically. Trent Williams, I know he's not 6'6", 6'7", but he's also Trent Williams, and athleticism is completely off the charts. So Jennings Dunker, not just in the picture Hall of Fame, but also with a solid relative athletic score. We know that John Lynch was at Georgia's Pro Day. Micah Morris is a guard who's scored exceptionally well. Look at that 40. He was almost breaking 5 seconds. And for somebody who's 334 pounds to be able to run that quickly, and then the explosiveness is also good. I mean, you see a whole heck of a lot of green on this relative athletic score for Micah Morris. Could also be somebody who fits right into a guard competition for the 49ers. Then you could look at Kalen Rutledge out of Georgia Tech, another fast, agile guard. We actually have 3-cone and shuttle scores for him. And the short shuttle has been something the 49ers have loved for their offensive linemen over the years. Guys who have scored elite in the short shuttle have very often ended up 49ers. Let's just put it that way. Josh Norris had an amazing stat that we're going to pull back up during the NFL draft or before it when we're starting to delve a little bit closer into this. But keep your mind on these 3 names and on these 3 relative athletic scores and on this picture, because maybe the 49ers go in one of these directions for the NFL draft. Kyle Shanahan definitely hinted at it today. And Mike says right now, Brock should bring back the mullet. That is not Brock Purdy up on the screen. That's Jennings Dunker. Gennings. Jennings Dunker. Here's the spelling if you look at the relative athletic score. But what if Brock Purdy brought back the mullet and he had Jennings Dunker up front blocking for him? That sure would be something. So today Kyle Shanahan spoke, and I have the article up on the San Francisco Standard. This is not just about Jed York. I also have a whole Kyle Shanahan section, which I think that we could delve a little bit further into. I said earlier in the morning in the Kyle Shanahan section of this article, because he was also asked about Brandon Aiyuk, and he said, well, I hope we're not in a hurry to get rid of him. I hope that we get something back for him. But it didn't really make a splash and wasn't a center of his press conference because Jed York hadn't spoken yet. And it took Jed York really pushing the Brandon Aiyuk narrative in a much more aggressive way. Oh, the 49ers might actually keep this guy. The 49ers want this guy to play for them. It took that happening for that to start making some headlines. So we only heard a little bit from Kyle Shanahan on the Brandon Aiyuk situation, but we did hear a lot from Kyle Shanahan on the situation of the 49ers going out and making all of their coaching changes official. So that's what we're going to take a look at next. I'm going to toss this up onto the screen so we could see all of the 49ers staff changes for this 2025 season. It took Kyle a while to formulate this staff, but he made a couple of interesting changes that I definitely think are worth examining. And here you have them. This is a look at everything, all the moves as the 49ers head into this 2026 season. Headlining it is the fact that KJ Wright down there at the bottom is now the 49ers linebackers coach. He has been promoted from assistant linebackers coach. Yes, that is the former Seattle Seahawk. Promoted from assistant linebackers coach because Johnny Holland, the longtime 49ers head linebackers coach, has received the promotion to defensive run game coordinator. This is the first time under Kyle Shanahan that the 49ers have had a dedicated defensive run game coordinator, which I think goes to show you how important it is to Kyle Shanahan and this staff, and to Raheem Morris and to Matt Eberflus, both of whom are on this list, how important it is to stop the run. You're not going to have any fun unless you do stop that run. So Johnny Holland's done an amazing job. He's been one of the 49ers' top positional assistants. The proof is in the pudding. He developed Fred Warner. He developed Dre Greenlaw. Both of whom are back. He developed Azeez Al-Shire. The linebacker room has been a position of strength for the 49ers when they've had their guys healthy. Johnny Holland deserves the promotion to defensive run game coordinator. And the 49ers under new defensive coordinator Raheem Morris have made that move. Now, KJ Wright is a rising coaching star. KJ has graduated to that head linebackers coach position. Other stuff here, we've already reported the majority of it, but Cameron Clemens is now the 49ers tight ends coach, takes over for Brian Fleury, who left to the Seattle Seahawks to be the offensive coordinator. Matt Eberflus is running that defense. Today, Kyle Shanahan said that position coaches, they have a tougher time seeing the big picture, but Matt Eberflus has been a head coach. He's been a defensive coordinator. 49ers get him in there to help out Raheem Morris. It's going to be a lot like Gus Bradley helping out Robert Saleh last season. So Matt Eberflus on this list for San Francisco because they want to make sure that they've got two guys who have very broad views of what the defense is doing. And along those lines, Johnny Holland being promoted to a run game coordinator position, I think echoes a lot of the same mentality. You want to have some overseers of this defense and the direction that it is heading. Micah Furster is a seasonal coaching assistant for the 49ers. I'm not sure how long he's going to be with the staff, but he is named in this release. The new run game coordinator is Joe Graves. He had already been on the staff. Jerry Gray came over from Atlanta where he worked under Raheem Morris. He is now going to be the 49ers DB coach, replacing Daniel Bullocks, and also the defensive passing game coordinator, replacing Daniel Bullocks. That is not a surprise. 49ers have promoted their wide receivers coach, Leonard Hankerson, to pass game coordinator. So that's a nice new title for Leonard Hankerson. There you have Johnny Holland. Angel Matute has come over from the college ranks. He is a defensive quality control coach. He's worked with defensive linemen before. There's Raheem Morris. There's Roman Sapolo. That Roman Sapolo is the son of the 49ers' great offensive lineman, Jesse Sapolo. Roman was with the Miami Dolphins. He's been with Hawaii. He's been with Fresno State as well. But he was with the Miami Dolphins in 2024. And that was the year that Robert Jones, the new 49ers offensive lineman, had a career year. So you can trace the 49ers signing of Robert Jones to Jesse Sapolo's son, Roman Sapolo, who is on this list of new hires and moves for the 49ers. Deuce Schwartz has moved to a tight ends coach role, has moved for the 49ers because obviously there have been assistant tight ends, obviously, behind Cameron Clemens, obviously. Some movement there on that front. Joe Graves moving over from that tight end spot, assistant tight end spot after Brian Fleury left, so that it's made this big shuffle with Graves, Cameron Clemens, and Deuce Schwartz. And Jacob Webster has moved to an assistant quarterbacks coach role. So those are the 49ers staff changes as officially announced today, the day that Kyle Shanahan spoke here at the NFL owners meetings. Look what I brought with me. I've been rereading this a little bit on the plane. It's the Bill Walsh book. This is really, really good. This is not the autobiography. This is the David Harris biography. And I mean, you could see all the marks that I have in it. I still got to add some more. There's a lot of stuff about the draft and how much of a crapshoot it is. This is a quality book. Like, I could just open this up to a random page and, I'm going to open up to one of my markers and it's awesome. This part's about Bill Walsh being hired and going to the Fairmont Hotel in San Francisco to interview with Eddie DeBartolo and then to do his opening press conference. He's haggling with Eddie DeBartolo Sr., Eddie DeBartolo Jr., about the signing bonus, and I mean, just so many cool behind the scenes things in this book. There's a picture of Bill at his introductory press conference. I highly, highly recommend it. The genius on Bill Walsh. Like I said, it's hot here in Phoenix, but there was a lot of news that we were able to go through over the course of the past couple days, and the meetings continue into tomorrow. I'll probably swing back through, but we heard from Jed today. We heard from Kyle today. We heard from John Lynch yesterday. We hear from Mike throughout all of this. Oh, Mike sent me a Brock Purdy mullet photo, which is going to have to go up on the screen as well. Mike thinks that Joe Graves probably has the biggest job that needs to have a huge impact out of the 49ers assistants. From assistant quarterbacks coach now to the run game for Joe Graves, coordinating that run game for San Francisco. Yes, Kyle Shanahan must indeed think very, very highly of him. I'm taking this Brock Purdy photo that Mike sent me. I'm going to put this one up on the screen. So we're going to have to ask people who has done the mullet better. Has Jennings Dunker done the mullet better, or has Brock Purdy done the mullet better? Now, this is an Iowa battle. This is Iowa State versus Iowa. And of course, I'm sure George Kittle might want to chime into this, but if Purdy doesn't the mullet, I mean, I'm in full support of it. Right now, I'm in the very early stages of the beard. It's probably going to be something that we just do here through April. See how long it lasts in the offseason. I did it last, in 2022, that season, heading into the 2023 offseason. Then I shaved it before I got married because they wanted me to be clean shaven for my wedding. So I said, okay, I did it. But now we're going to bring back the beard. I don't know if I'm going to be doing a mullet, but I think if Jennings Dunker joins the 49ers, we're just talking about guards that the 49ers can draft. I think if that happens, then yeah, maybe Brock Purdy's got to consider going with the mullet as well. I can hear your comments, and I'll take a look at your comments. If you think yes, Brock Purdy should return to this hairstyle, give a thumbs up or say yes in the comment section. Would love to hear your voice on this beautiful afternoon in Phoenix. We're going to be interactive with this. Why the heck not? Joy says, love Brock, but Jennings Dunker wears the mullet better. Well, he's a lineman, so I mean, I would hope he wears it better. He's an O lineman. Those guys are oftentimes born to rock the mullets, I'll have to say, especially Jennings Dunker. Being Butterfly thinks the entire team should grow out mullets. That would be crazy. But it would be fun, kind of like a playoff beard. They do that a lot in hockey. I am ready for some good questions. We can talk about Aiyuk. We can talk about Shanahan. We can talk about the Christian McCaffrey workload plan. We can talk about the 49ers depth chart. We can talk about the 5 pieces of instruction that Kyle Shanahan and the staff are going to have for Brock Purdy. I mean, we've got a whole heck of a lot of options for your questions right now. I know it's been a busy couple days. It's been a hell of a month, too. And I can't wait to just get out there back to the Biltmore here in a few minutes and just enjoy a couple drinks, enjoy the warm evening weather, a lot better than the hot daytime weather in Arizona, catch up with everybody from around the league and with the 49ers, and then head off into the dead period of April. And yes, it is a dead period. People are going to be speculating about the draft for a few weeks, but it's really, to be honest, when it comes to hard news, one of the quieter portions of the NFL calendar. It's that, and then it's late June, early July. So we'll have a chance to take our breaths here over the course of the next couple of weeks. Then the draft will hit. Then it's going to be OTAs. First rookie minicamp, then OTAs, then veteran minicamp, where everybody, mandatory attendance. It's the next time that Brandon Aiyuk contractually has to be in the building. Mandatory OTAs. So that's going to be our mandatory veteran minicamp. OTAs are voluntary. Minicamp is, which wraps them up, is mandatory. Then everybody breaks for about a month. some can stay in the facility. Rookies often do. And then everybody's going to come back, and maybe they'll come back a little bit earlier this year since the 49ers do play slightly earlier to begin the season against the Rams in Australia, something that Kyle Shanahan is not a fan of. All right, question time. Everybody's talking about mullets. Here's a question. When will the 49ers get a Raheem Morris, or when will fans get a Raheem Morris press conference? I would guess last year Saleh did his the Monday before the NFL draft, when the 49ers kind of set things up for the draft. I wouldn't be surprised if Raheem did his on that day as well. So maybe we'll have the introductory press conference for Raheem Morris on that Monday. I can't wait to hear from Raheem, because the 49ers, as expected, are not really talking in many specifics. The closest we got to specifics about what he wants to run and the type of players that he's going to be looking for came back in the NFL Combine, when John Lynch said, okay, we might start looking for defensive ends who could drop back in coverage a little bit and play outside linebacker. He made clear that they're going to stay in a primary four-man front, 4-3 defense, but he hinted that they're going to have some more adaptability to run some more of those looks. And many times the five-man fronts come out of 3-4 alignments, and we know that Raheem Morris likes to run those. And today was interesting because Kyle Shanahan said that what really sold him on Raheem was the fact that he coached against him when Raheem was the defensive coordinator of the Rams, and the Rams won that Super Bowl in 2021. And apparently Kyle was very, very impressed with the work he did with the Rams. And that was a 3-4 team. He took what Brandon Staley had learned from Vic Fangio, and he continued applying it with the Rams. And yes, they won that Super Bowl. And yes, it did impress Kyle Shanahan. And to me, I look at that and I say, well, the 49ers don't want to abandon what they have with the four-man front. And it looks like they are strong at linebacker, though. But I think that they want to take their four-man system and the Tampa 2 roots, which they have with Kyle, Raheem himself, with Matt Eberflus, with John Lynch, who played in the four-man Tampa front defense. And I think that they just want to diversify that defense. And Raheem Morris, if there is a coordinator who can make things adaptable in this league, it is him, because he's coached in several different systems. So I'm guessing that we're going to hear from him in 2 to 3 weeks ahead of the NFL draft. What's the blue light in the doorway? Well, that's like a window shade, because it's still bright outside here in Phoenix. So it's the sun and the daylight kind of peeking through the edges of the blackout shade. And that's a good thing, because otherwise I would be silhouetted, right, with the shot right here. But I think we got a nice shot. I think for a road setup, you can't say that this is bad. I think this is quality. We got good depth of field. We've got good sound. Better sound than we did for, I have one of those wireless mics, and I think there were so many wireless mics in the room, and mine was just like poorly positioned or something. The Shanahan interview was, a little clippy. That was a little frustrating. We'll have to get that technical issue sorted out. But the Jed York interview, all that is on the channel. You can go ahead and check it out. Make sure that you go just back and watch the video upload that I put up a little bit earlier today. Lombardi herself is watching, and she said Beard is looking good with a fire emoji. So that's nice. Hello. Everybody say hi to Lombardi herself. Not at the owners' meetings this year. Next thing she'll know, I'll grow out a mullet. No, I'm just kidding. It's not going to look like that. The hair is getting a little bit longer, though, but mainly the beard is what we're working on at the moment. I think I got to order myself a ride to the Biltmore. But since I'm really dedicated to the craft, I'm going to stay with you guys while I order the ride, so you guys can ask some really, really good questions. How does that sound? We're picking our ride right now. We're doing a Lyft. We're not going to do a Waymo this time because we don't have a video to do. So we'll support the Lyft drivers, and ride is ordered, and we'll see how that goes. People shouting out to Margot. That's good. That's how you spell her name, by the way. Margo. There's no Eaux. It's just Margot like that. No T at the end either. Uh-oh, driver arriving in 3 minutes. It's all good. She's also known as Lombardi herself, AKA. All right, so your homework is to watch the video from earlier today. Like, if you're going to do something, go to the one from earlier today because we talk about the bombshell from Jed York talking about Brandon Aiyuk, and you have the York and the Shanahan interviews in full if you want to watch those on that video. And then after you do that, or while you do that, if you can multitask, you're going to have to head to the San Francisco Standard and check out the article on Jed York, Brandon Aiyuk, and Kyle Shanahan. The link is in the description, and I'm going to go ahead and pin it up on top right now. So you can go subscribe, and there is now a chat section in the San Francisco Standard. I don't know if, we don't have any chat messages yet. Article just went up recently, so maybe you win a prize if you're the first to get into that chat section up on the Standard. So go ahead and check that out. It's all ready for you. That is your homework assignment. I am going to head to the NFL annual party right now at the Biltmore. We'll talk to you very, very soon.